our wonderful global family of language learners, and a very warm welcome back to another stimulating episode of Idiom Insights. I'm Emma, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be your guide once again as we journey together through the captivating twists and turns of everyday English expressions. It's truly a joy to connect with you all and explore these fascinating phrases.
And a very enthusiastic hello from me too. It's Jack, your co-explorer in the fascinating world of words, ready to dive into meanings, origins, and maybe even share a chuckle or two. Welcome back to Idiom Insights. You know, Emma, what always strikes me about idioms is how they encapsulate so much cultural observation and human psychology. Today's batch feels particularly insightful about how we view choices, innovation, and coping mechanisms.
That's such a great point, Jack. They really are little windows into collective experience. Today, we're looking at phrases that help us talk about making difficult choices when options are poor, pioneering new paths, releasing stress, and achieving genuine innovation. Understanding these isn't just about vocabulary, it's about grasping the subtle judgments, attitudes, and historical contexts embedded within the language. It helps us communicate with much more precision and empathy.
Precisely. Precision and empathy through quirky phrases. What could be better? So, let's get our analytical hats on. On today's carefully curated episode of Idiom Insights, we will be meticulously examining these 4 expressions. First, dealing with poor options, best of a bad bunch, a phrase acknowledging mediocrity perhaps. Next, pioneering and leading the way, blaze a trail, conjures images of explorers and adventurers. Then letting out pent-up feelings, blow off steam, a very necessary activity sometimes. And finally, innovating and doing something new, break new ground. Sounds like progress.
A truly interesting mix today, Jack, covering quite different conceptual areas. Before we start analyzing the situation of choosing the least bad option, we'd love to share that quick, customary reminder from your Idiom Insights team. If you're finding these explorations into English beneficial and you don't want to miss out on future discussions, please do take just a moment to hit that subscribe or follow button on your podcast platform. It ensures you stay connected with us.
Absolutely. It's the simplest way to keep these idiom insights flowing directly to you. And if you're feeling particularly supportive, a little like or a positive rating goes a long, long way. It genuinely helps other dedicated English learners find our show and join this fantastic community. Right, enough friendly prompting. Emma, let's talk about that phrase, best of a bad bunch. It doesn't sound particularly enthusiastic, does it?
No, it certainly doesn't, Jack. There's a distinct lack of enthusiasm implied. When you describe someone or something as being the best of a bad bunch, you mean they are the least bad option among a group of choices that are all generally poor, unsatisfactory, or undesirable. It clearly indicates that none of the options are actually good, but you've chosen the one that is marginally better or less flawed than the others. It's a statement of reluctant acceptance or compromise, not genuine praise.
Reluctant acceptance? And that's a perfect way to put it. It's like saying, well, none of these are great, but if I have to choose one, this one is slightly less terrible than the others. It acknowledges the overall low quality of the options available. You might hear it when people are discussing unpopular political candidates. I don't really like any of them, but Candidate X is probably the best of a bad bunch. Or perhaps when choosing a restaurant in an area known for mediocre food. This place has 2 stars online, the others only have 1, so I guess it's the best of a bad bunch. It highlights the forced choice from poor alternatives.
Exactly. The emphasis is on the bad bunch part. It sets a very low bar for comparison. It's crucial to understand that calling something the best of a bad bunch is fundamentally different from calling it the best. The latter implies high quality, whereas the idiom explicitly implies the opposite. The chosen item is merely the least substandard. Think about being assigned unpleasant chores. Maybe you have to choose between cleaning the toilets, scrubbing the oven, or weeding the overgrown path. You might choose weeding, thinking, ugh, none of these are appealing, but I suppose weeding is the best of a bad bunch. You're still not happy about it?
Definitely not happy. It's choosing the lesser of evils, essentially. It's a phrase often accompanied by a sigh or a shrug, signaling that resignation we talked about. It's about making do when the options are limited and poor. Right, let's hear how Mia and Mark encounter this situation. What unwelcome choice are they faced with?
Mark, we really need to decide which movie we're going to stream tonight. We've been scrolling through the options for the last 20 minutes.
I know, but honestly, Mia, The selection seems particularly poor this evening. That new sci-fi film has terrible reviews. Apparently, the plot makes no sense. The romantic comedy looks really cheesy and predictable based on the trailer. And that historical drama? It's supposed to be incredibly slow and boring.
Tell me about it. I looked up a few more options too. That action movie is apparently just explosions and terrible dialogue. And the independent film everyone was talking about last month isn't actually available on this platform yet. There just doesn't seem to be anything genuinely good that we haven't already seen.
So what do? Just give up and read books instead?
Well, maybe we just have to pick something, even if it's not brilliant. What about that historical drama? Yes, it's supposed to be slow, but the cinematography apparently looks amazing. And the acting is meant to be quite good, even if the plot drags. The sci-fi sounds actively bad, and the rom-com looks painful.
The slow historical drama versus the actively bad sci-fi or the painful rom-com? You're right, none of them sound appealing at all. But if we really want to watch something, I suppose the visually impressive but slow drama might be the least offensive option. It sounds like it might be the best of a bad bunch.
Exactly my thinking. Let's go with that one then. It's the best of a bad bunch. Low expectations set, let's see if it surprises us.
That's a very typical use case. Faced with several undesirable movie options, none of which they actually want to watch, they reluctantly choose the one they perceive as slightly less bad than the others.
Precisely. Mark explicitly uses best of a bad bunch to signify this reluctant choice from poor alternatives, and Mia agrees. It perfectly captures the feeling of settling for the least worst option when nothing good is available. So, listeners, when have you had to choose the best of a bad bunch? Share your experiences with making do.
Now, let's move from settling for mediocrity to creating something entirely new and leading the way. Our second idiom is blaze a trail. Jack, this has such a dynamic, pioneering feel to it. What does it truly mean?
It really does evoke images of early explorers cutting paths through dense forests or across uncharted territory, doesn't it? To blaze a trail means to be the first to do something new, innovative or important, thereby creating a path or setting an example for others to follow. It implies leadership, pioneering spirit, and often overcoming significant obstacles or resistance. The trailblazer is someone who ventures into new territory, whether literally or metaphorically, and makes it possible or easier for others to come after them.
That paving the way for others aspect is crucial, I think. It's not just about being first, it's about creating a usable path. Think of scientists like Rosalind Franklin, whose work was fundamental to understanding DNA structure. She, along with others, was blazing a trail in molecular biology, providing foundational work that Watson and Crick famously built upon. Or consider figures in social justice movements who challenged discriminatory laws or attitudes when it was dangerous and unpopular to do so. They blazed a trail for greater equality, making it easier for future generations to advocate for rights. It implies courage and impact beyond the individual.
Absolutely. Courage and lasting impact are key themes. It often involves challenging the status quo, thinking differently, and persevering despite skepticism or difficulty. You might talk about an entrepreneur who blazed a trail by creating an entirely new market category with a disruptive product, changing consumer behavior and forcing established companies to adapt. Or an artist who blazed a trail with a revolutionary new technique or style that influenced generations of artists who followed. It's fundamentally about creating something new and leading where others can then tread.
It's a very positive and admirable description, usually associated with significant achievements and forward progress. Let's hear from Mia and Mark. Who are they discussing? Who fits this pioneering description?
Mark, I was reading an article about the history of computer programming, and it mentioned Grace Hopper. Have you heard of her? She was absolutely incredible.
Grace Hopper? Yes, the name rings a bell. Wasn't she a pioneering computer scientist, particularly involved with developing early programming languages back in the 1940s and 50s?
Exactly. The article highlighted how, at a time when programming was incredibly complex and done mostly in machine code or very basic assembly languages, she had the vision for creating programming languages that were much closer to human language, like English. She believed computers could be made more accessible if people could program them more intuitively.
That must have been a revolutionary idea back then. The established thinking was probably very technical and mathematical. Pushing for human-readable languages would have been going completely against the grain.
Totally. Apparently, she faced a lot of skepticism. Many of her colleagues thought her ideas were impractical or even impossible, but she persevered, developed the first compiler, and was instrumental in the creation of COBOL, one of the first high-level programming languages that made business computing feasible for a much wider range of people.
Wow, so she didn't just have the idea, she actually built the tools to make it happen, despite the resistance. She truly blazed a trail, didn't she? Her work fundamentally changed the direction of computing and paved the way for all the programming languages we use today.
Absolutely. The article described her as a real visionary who blazed a trail not only in technology, but also as a woman in a heavily male-dominated field at the time. Truly inspiring.
What a fantastic example. Grace Hopper's story perfectly embodies the idiom. She didn't just innovate, she created something fundamentally new against resistance, opening up possibilities for others.
Precisely. Mark uses blazed a trail to describe her pioneering work and its lasting impact, emphasizing how she created a new path in computing. Mia agrees, adding the dimension of her trailblazing role as a woman in STEM. It beautifully captures the spirit of leadership and innovation inherent in the idiom. Listeners of Idiom Insights, who do you consider to be a great trailblazer, past or present?
Now, from pioneering work, let's move to dealing with the stresses that sometimes accompany it. Our third idiom is blow off steam. Emma, this sounds like a necessary release valve. What are we releasing here?
We're releasing pent-up emotions, Jack. To blow off steam, or sometimes just blow off some steam, means to release strong emotions like anger, frustration, stress, or excess energy in a harmless or acceptable way, usually by doing something active, energetic, or distracting. The idea is that these negative emotions build up like steam pressure inside a container, and if they aren't released safely, they might cause an explosion, like losing your temper inappropriately. So, blowing off steam is about finding a healthy outlet to vent these feelings and calm down.
A healthy outlet. That's the ideal scenario. It's a coping mechanism. After a really stressful week at work, full of difficult meetings and tight deadlines, someone might say, I really need to blow off some steam this weekend. They might plan to do this by going for a long run, playing a vigorous sport like tennis or football, maybe even just shouting along to loud music in their car, or having a long, energetic rant to a trusted friend. The specific activity varies, but the goal is the same: release the pressure.
Exactly. The activity itself is less important than its function as a release. It could be physical exertion, creative expression, social venting, or even just engaging in a completely absorbing hobby that takes your mind off things. It acknowledges that suppressing strong negative emotions indefinitely isn't healthy. You need a way to let them out without causing harm to yourself or others. Of course, how someone chooses to blow off steam matters. Some methods are healthier than others. But the idiom itself refers to the act of finding that release.
That's a vital point about healthy versus unhealthy release. But the fundamental need to vent pressure is very human. Let's hear from Mia and Mark. Who needs to release some pressure, and how are they planning to do it?
Mark, you seem really tense this evening. You've been pacing around the living room ever since you got back from that meeting with the planning committee about the garden changes. Did it not go well?
Not go well? Mia, it was infuriating. Remember how I was worried about Mr. Henderson being difficult? Well, he wasn't just difficult, he was dismissive, condescending, and completely refused to listen to any alternative suggestions. He basically railroaded his original proposal through, ignoring everyone else's concerns. I am absolutely furious. I feel like I could explode.
Oh dear, that sounds incredibly frustrating, especially when you'd prepared counter-arguments so carefully. What happened in the end?
His proposal got voted through just as he wanted. I feel so angry and powerless right now. I need to do something to get this frustration out of my system before I say something I regret or just simmer with resentment all evening.
Okay, I understand why you're angry. You definitely need to let it out somehow. What would help? Do you want to just rant and rave at me for 10 minutes? Or maybe we could go for a really fast, hard run around the park, or put on some really loud rock music.
You know what? A run sounds perfect. A really hard, fast run where I can just pound the pavement and focus on physical exertion. I really need to blow off steam right now. Get rid of all this angry energy. Come with me. We can complain about Henderson the whole way round.
Okay, trainer's on. Let's go blow off some steam together.
You can really feel Mark's intense frustration building up after the meeting. He recognizes the need to release that negative energy before it causes problems.
Exactly. He explicitly states his need to blow off steam and identifies running as his chosen method for venting that anger and frustration safely. Mia supports this, understanding the necessity of releasing that pent-up emotion. It clearly illustrates the idiom's meaning. Listeners, what's your favorite way to blow off steam after a stressful day?
And finally, let's turn to our fourth idiom, which, like blaze a trail, relates to innovation but perhaps with a slightly different focus: break new ground. Jack, how does this compare or contrast with blazing a trail?
That's a great question to explore, Emma, as they are related but distinct. While blazing a trail emphasizes pioneering leadership and creating a path for others, breaking new ground focuses more specifically on the act of doing or discovering something completely new, innovative, or unprecedented within a particular field or context. It highlights the novelty and the departure from existing methods, knowledge, or traditions. You can break new ground without necessarily intending to lead others. The focus is on the innovative achievement itself, pushing the boundaries of what's known or done.
So, the emphasis is more on the innovation itself, the unprecedented nature of the act or discovery. A company might break new ground by developing a revolutionary manufacturing process that significantly reduces waste, even if other companies don't immediately follow. Or an academic researcher might break new ground by publishing a study that fundamentally challenges a long-held theory in their discipline, offering a completely new perspective based on novel evidence. It's about introducing something fundamentally original.
Precisely. Originality and stepping beyond existing boundaries are key. It doesn't necessarily imply the same level of showing the way as blazing a trail, but rather highlights the creation or discovery of something not seen before in that context. Think of artists who invented completely new genres of music or painting. They were breaking new ground stylistically. Or perhaps architects who use innovative materials or construction techniques never tried before are breaking new ground in design. It signifies a significant leap forward or departure from the established norm.
It definitely signals a departure and significant innovation. Let's hear Mia and Mark's final dialogue. What groundbreaking development are they discussing?
Mark, did you read about that local tech startup, BioWeave, in the news? The one founded by those young scientists from the university?
Vaguely, aren't they working on some kind of environmentally friendly packaging material? I saw a brief mention but didn't catch the details.
Well, the article I read was fascinating. Apparently, they've developed a completely new type of biodegradable material made from agricultural waste, like leftover straw and corn husks, using a novel fungal fermentation process they invented.
Made from farm waste using fungus? That certainly sounds unusual. What's so special about it? Is it just another type of compostable plastic?
No, that's the amazing part. According to the article, this new material isn't plastic at all. It's strong, waterproof, moldable like plastic, but it decomposes completely in soil within just a few weeks, leaving no harmful residues. And the production process itself is apparently very low energy and uses materials that are currently just thrown away.
Wow, a strong, waterproof, fully biodegradable material from waste, made using fungi? That doesn't sound like anything currently on the market. Most biodegradable plastics still have issues. If their claims are true, they are really breaking new ground, aren't they? That could potentially revolutionize the packaging industry.
That's exactly what the article suggested. It said their unique fermentation process and the resulting material are completely novel. They're definitely breaking new ground in sustainable material science. It's exciting to see that kind of innovation happening locally.
That example really emphasizes the novelty and innovation. The startup hasn't just improved an existing product, they've created something fundamentally new using unprecedented methods.
Exactly. Mark identifies their work as breaking new ground because it represents a significant departure from existing technologies and offers a potentially revolutionary solution in their field. Mia agrees, highlighting the originality of their process. It perfectly captures the essence of introducing something fundamentally new and innovative. Listeners of Idiom Insights, where do you see people breaking new ground today?
And with that thought on innovation, we conclude our exploration of another 4 idioms. It's been fascinating delving into the nuances today. Let's quickly recap the expressions we've covered.
It certainly has been enlightening. Today on Idiom Insights, we discussed best of a bad bunch, the least bad option among a set of poor choices, blaze a trail, to be the first to do something important, paving the way for others. Blow off steam, to release pent-up stress or anger through activity or venting. Break new ground, to do or discover something completely new or innovative.
Excellent. We sincerely hope that our detailed discussions, explorations of nuance, and the illustrative dialogues have helped you gain a really solid understanding of these common English idioms. Remember, context is everything.
Absolutely. Pay attention to how these phrases are used around you, and don't be afraid to try incorporating them into your own English. And if you found today's episode useful and perhaps even enjoyable, we would be incredibly grateful if you could take a moment to leave us a like, a rating, or a positive review. Your feedback truly helps.
And crucially, make sure you are subscribed or following Idiom Insights. It's the best way to ensure you catch every episode as we continue to explore the rich tapestry of English together. We love having you as part of our learning community.
We really do appreciate you joining us. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, stay curious, and enjoy every step of your language journey. Goodbye for now.
Bye, everyone. Take care, happy learning, and go break some new ground in your English studies.